Hi everyone, this is Dale C. Washington of Greater Works, Prophetic Ministry and Raw. It is Tuesday, July 13th of 2021. So I am back to continue with part 2 of Monitoring Spirits, Shut Them Down. Okay, this is part 2. So if you're on this channel and you've pulled up this video and you have not seen part 1, please start from part 1 because you'll get a better understanding of what I'm talking about and the things that I am exposing. So you need to, if you haven't seen part 1, please go and pull up part 1 of Monitoring Spirits, Shut Them Down. Please look at that one first. All right, now before I get into, I'm going to start with the dream for part 2, but before I get into that, I want to make a small correction from part 1 of Monitoring Spirits, Shut Them Down. So in part 1, when I was discussing some things, mentioning some things that I had heard Marcus Rogers say in his in some of his videos, one of the things I mentioned was that he said something to the effect that they can go in your bank account. Well, if I worded it that way, I want to rephrase that. I think he said, he made a reference, whatever he was talking about in that video. I don't know the name of the video. He has so many videos. They do like 2 and 3 videos a day. But whatever he was making reference to, I think he actually said they can freeze your bank account. All right. So I wanted to make a correction with that, although that's not far off from the way I said it on part 1, but I wanted to make that correction. I was really tired. I had to try to record that video twice. And so yeah, I think he said they can freeze your bank account. I also want to explain when Marcus Rogers says they this and they that, and he's, as I said in part 1, he is actually telling you what he does, and he's also as far as he's telling you what he does as far as the crimes he is committing against the people of God. Okay. And he's also telling you what they are doing. Okay. Whenever he tells you, whenever he says they this, and he's acting like he's informing y'all about an agenda that they, quote unquote, are behind, and he's making reference to they, Marcus Rogers knows who they He knows who they are. Okay. They are the people and the spiritual wickedness in high places who Marcus Rogers works for. So I wanted to get that out of the way, just in case somebody wants to come at me and say, oh, he didn't say that they can go in your bank account. He said they could freeze your bank account. I don't even know the name of the video. I was just going over different things that I have heard this guy say in various videos. And as I said in part 1, he's actually telling y'all what he's doing, but he's incorporating it into his messages as part of a spiritual or prophetic message. But those are the things he's actually doing. He's actually telling on himself. Okay, but y'all don't know it. He's actually telling y'all what the agenda is that he is a part of. He's telling y'all what the people are up to, who he works with. Okay, that agenda, whether it's one world order, new world order, whatever you want to call it, end time agenda, anti-Christ agenda, he's telling you what they're doing. It's as if he has inside information and he's trying to act like, oh, I'm just informing y'all about this. It's like he's trying to educate the people of God. No, he's a part of that stuff. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and jump into part two, and it's called the Spy Sloth Dream. This dream was sent and given to my daughter from the Lord June 17th of 2021. Now remember, part one, the dream about the pigeon and the chimpanzee, that was given in 2019. So this one is from June, which was last month. And so you're going to see how God is repeatedly sending us these messages and these dreams, trying to get us to understand and see exactly what he's saying and what's going on, because I didn't get the full interpretation of the dream I shared in part one about the pigeon and the chimpanzee. I only had a partial interpretation. So you're going to see how the first dream I discussed and the interpretation of that dream ties into this dream in part two, the Spy Sloth Dream. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into that. So first, I think I'm going to go to that picture. I'm going to read the dream, and then I'm going to give you all the interpretation, okay? All right. Spy Sloth Dream and Interpretation, Thursday, June 17, 2021 is when that dream was sent. Okay, so, and that's a window. My daughter says, I'm sorry, first, there is a scripture. Before I forget, let me go ahead and read the scripture. The scripture is coming from Daniel 7, chapter 7 and verse 25, and that reads, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time." That is in reference to the man of sin, the Antichrist. All right. So when verse 25 says, and it says that this said he is going to speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. So in other words, this what I'm getting ready to discuss with you now, and the people I'm getting ready to expose now, they are also a part of they are also agents of change, as I discussed in part one of Monitoring Spirits, about the chimpanzee being an agent of change. The chimpanzee, we found out, represents Marcus Rogers. The pigeon also, the stool pigeon also represents Marcus Rogers. But I told you that the chimpanzee, before I revealed his identity, I said this is a person who is an agent of change, just as the Antichrist is an agent of change. So for part two, the Spy Sloth Dream, the person who the Spy Sloth represents is also an agent of change. He is also of the same agenda, and the same community and organization as Marcus Rogers. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and start with the dream, and then I'm going to get into the interpretation. My daughter says, "I was in Mama's room watching a sloth standing in a tree outside her window. The tree was closer to her room window in the dream than it is in real life. The sloth in the tree was looking in my direction and seemed to be aware that I was looking at it. In real life, a sloth would not be able to see me because it was sunny outside. Sloths are blind during daylight." Okay, now I want to pause there, and I want to bring to your attention, if you notice, and if you've seen part one, and I'm asking you, if you haven't seen it, go look at part one before you look at part two. Part one is showing the front of the house, and the window at the front of the house, and the tree in the front where the TV is. Okay, notice this dream is referring to the back of the house, the back window, and the tree that is at the back of my house. What is at the back of my house at the bedroom window? My computer. So at the front window, for part one of this message, it was the tree, and the TV was there, where that was where all the action was taking place with the spying from the chimpanzee feeding the birds of prey and the stool pigeon. Okay, so now we're at the back of the house where my computer is, and there's a tree at the back of the house at the window to the bedroom as well. Okay, so my daughter was saying that, in other words, the sloth in real life wouldn't be able to see you, because when the sun is shining, they're not really able to see. They're supposed to be basically blind during daylight. Okay. And then she went on to say, I was in disbelief that a sloth was in a tree outside the window. So I reached my hand out to the sloth to see if it was really there. There was a window between me and the sloth. And she's talking about the actual bedroom window. So there was a window between me and the sloth, but my hand still somehow went through the window. The sloth saw me and slowly reached out its hand and gently tugged or pulled my fingers. Once I realized the sloth was real, I pulled back my hand and just watched the sloth. The sloth still seemed to be aware of my presence, and it watched me while I watched it. We watched each other for a few minutes, and then the sloth came in Mama's room through a slot in the window. All right, remember that word, slot. So he came in through a slot in the window. The bottom window has a screen, and the top one doesn't. There was a slot in the top of the screen, and the sloth came through the slot in the screen and somehow came through the window and got in Mama's room. The window was not open, but the sloth somehow got through in the dream. But the sloth somehow got through. In the dream, I didn't understand how the sloth came in through such a thin slot. Now, I'm sorry, not only was the slot thin, but it was like the edge of the screen was torn from the top of the window frame, so that would cause the sloth to be scratched by the sharp screen while going through the slot. The sloth came through the slot quickly, and it came in feet first, belly up. I also did not understand how the sloth got from the tree to the window. The tree was closer to the window than in real life, but still not close enough for the sloth to get to the window and go through it as fast as it did. When the sloth came into Mama's room, I thought the sloth was unaware of what it was doing and came in on accident, like when animals unknowingly go in stores or some other place they shouldn't be. I remember thinking, oh no, the sloth must be lost and accidentally came in. I need to help it get outside where it belongs. I also thought the sloth got hurt or scratched up from going through the tiny slot in the screen. I tried to pick up the sloth to see if it was okay and help it back outside. As I tried picking the sloth up, it started swinging its arms at me like it was swatting me away. It was as if I was an annoyance to the sloth and it wanted me to stay back. Its fingers, claws hit me, and they were sharp. I backed away with the sloth in Mama's room. All right, so that is the end of her dream. When she first told me to dream, and when the sloth was swatting her away, I think she said, "Ow," because I think she said that the claws of the sloth had hit her. So I think that's how she told that to me in the very beginning. All right, so I'm going to get into the interpretation. Remember the word slot, because this is going to connect back to electronics, and computers, and things that fit through slots. Okay, so remember the word slot. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into the interpretation of that dream. Okay, so I'm going to just go over this just in case I forget. This tells you some interesting things about the sloth. So for this dream, we had to read up on, how the nature of sloths and how they live and stuff like that. This is the path that I was on, as I was seeking the Lord about the interpretation. Well, then you have to kind of look into the meaning of the symbols that these things represent. You have to look into, well, what is it about a sloth? Why are we seeing a sloth in a dream? Okay, so it says these animals are amazing hosts. It says sloth fur is home to a whole ecosystem, a community of living things. Tiny animals burrow into a sloth's hair to eat delicious algae that often grows there. Hundreds of moths, beetles, cockroaches, and worms can reportedly be found on some sloths. Okay, as I think I said in the previous video, I apologize that I have to bore some of you with the details, but this is the way I operate for now. Okay, the evidence of what God is showing me is in the details of the interpretation. All right, so and this is kind of how God began to unfold the interpretation piece by piece. Things he spoke, but also things that I researched. I can just tell y'all the bottom line. I don't have to go through all the details and all these steps, but if I just tell y'all the message from the dream, there's going to be too many skeptics, and there's going to be skeptics anyway. But when I give you the breakdown of the dream and the interpretation and the things God is showing and speaking, it's undeniable. The evidence is undeniable of what God is showing in the dreams and the visions and the symbols. Okay, and all of that stuff. If I was to tell a lot of y'all just, oh, God showed me so and so and so, and God said so and so and so was so and so and so, a lot of people would just want to dismiss it. Okay, so anyway, let me go ahead and do what I do. Let me get into the interpretation. So the interpretation of the sloth dream is going to tie into and connect with the stool pigeon dream from part 1 of this message. So my daughter said that the sloth was aware of her presence. So that is one of the things we first discussed. So my daughter saw the sloth outside of the window, in the tree, in the daytime, and the sun was shining. Sloths are not supposed to be able to see in the daytime, as I think I've already said that. So they are able to know and detect their surroundings through sensory. Okay, that's how they know what's going on, through sensory. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this, if it was written out. If you can see this, when my daughter saw the sloth, it was standing up, okay? It was standing up over here. Feet would have been on this branch, and the sloth was leaning on this part of the tree, okay, the bark. It had its hand or its arm stretched out, leaning on this tree right here as it was standing. And sloths don't stand. They hang upside down. But in the dream, it was standing straight up. The reason being is because this sloth represents a person. Okay? All right. So sloths know and detect their surroundings through sensory. And in a little bit, you're going to know where I'm going with this. So I was led to read about how sloths lives and move about in their environment. So some of the following notes that I took about this, it's going to show you how sloths move about in comparison to surveillance technology. Did y'all hear that? Surveillance technology. Okay? I call sloths the walking dead of the animal kingdom. Let me go back to that picture. Okay? They're very creepy looking. Or I should say they are the crawling dead of the animal kingdom. Sloths crawl and move about in slow motion. So the words slow motion detectors came to my mind, okay? Slow motion detectors. This is how God began to compare the sloth to technology and certain pieces of surveillance equipment, okay, and electronics. Okay, so the word sensory kept coming to me. Motion detectors, sensory motion detectors. One of the examples that came to me was garbage cans that open by sensory detectors. Okay, so remember the sloth is not supposed to be able to see in the daytime, so it can tell its surroundings or know what's around it by sensory. Okay. Also, the other example came to me to compare this to is like how smoke detectors, they detect heat and smoke through sensory. All right. So, yeah. So again, the sloth and this person and the sloth and whatever devices that they're using. And when I say this person, the sloth represents the technology that they're using. It picks up on our movements by sensory also. Okay. Now, again, my daughter said the sloth was aware of her presence. The sloth acted like it could see my daughter because it represents a human being. It represents a real person that was spying into our house through technology. All right. Okay. So let me show you guys another picture here. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. This right here is my actual home screen on my computer. Okay, that is right by the window that was in my daughter's dream. This is my computer's home screen right here. So I'm going to explain something about that. So these people who spy, and I'm talking about surveillance and spying through technology, they have an operating system that gives them access into people's homes through electronic devices and also through technology. Okay. I think I better tell this part now before I forget. So as I said, in my daughter's dream, she saw the sloth standing in the tree. Okay, let me go back to that. Standing in this tree, standing upright, leaning. Remember that, leaning on this part of the tree, had his arms stretched out and his hand leaning, resting on that tree in a leaning position. So this is what God directed my attention to. He connected that back to the home screen on my computer. Okay, this is Klaus the sloth, by the way. I said that in a previous video. That is Klaus the sloth spying or hacking. Now, so God directed my attention to this window right here. I explained in part 1 of monitoring spirits, shut them down, what the windows are. What is the interpretation of windows? Windows is any and all windows. It is the windows to your house that you look through. Windows is your TV screen, and your TV screen is a window. This is all information in part one. Your computer screen and monitor, this is a window. Your phone screen is a window for people to spy and listen to you through. So here is God was saying, you see this tree leaning? I've had this for my home screen for years. This tree is leaning. So God showed me that the sloth, the spy sloth, Klaus, was spying on me and the people of God. They're looking through your computer screen. All right. This is a screen like the screen my daughter was describing in her dream, where the sloth came in through a tiny slot at the top of the screen. Okay. Here's the tree that's leaning, which represents the sloth leaning, but it represents whoever this sloth is in real life, whoever Klaus is. This is the location of him spying in my house and in the homes of other people that they have under surveillance. All right. Now, I'm going to discuss with you all the ecosystem of the sloth. Look at these claws. Doesn't that look like this guy's fingers right here? Look at Klaus. Now I'm going to discuss the ecosystem, because this is important, of the sloth. The sloth has its own personal ecosystem, similar to how the chimpanzee was feeding and taking care of the predator birds of his community. That was in part one. Do y'all see the similarities? The chimpanzee had a community of gray predator prey birds, Prey, that he was feeding. He was feeding them what? Information. What was he feeding them? Stolen information, stolen messages from the people of God. So here we have a sloth that is a spy. He has an ecosystem and he feeds. He feeds also the animals, the tiny animals and the insects that are in his hair. Okay. Moving on. Sloths move. Here's another piece of information. Sloths move their heads to a 270-degree angle. I think that's how I'm supposed to say that. Without moving their body, which saves energy. Now that is a part of that. Saving energy is a part of their ecosystem as well. This is similar to how surveillance cameras pan and see. All right, so I discussed the word pan and see from the chimpanzee in part one, and that's what a surveillance camera does. Which is similar and being compared to how a sloth moves its head very slowly in slow motion, from a 270-degree angle. And have y'all ever seen surveillance cameras? You barely can see them move. It's like you can't even really tell that they're watching you or turning in your direction if you don't really stand there and really stare and catch it doing that, because it moves very, very, very slowly, just like a sloth does. And so a sloth can turn the head almost completely around without moving its body. Now, it's reminding me of the owl, okay? The owl is coming to mind. So what is an ecosystem? It is a biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. A simple definition of an ecosystem is that it is a community or group of living organisms that live in and interact with each other in a specific environment. It's a sharing community, and here is what God compared it to. Listen to the word. The word community is being repeated a lot with the sloth dream and his environment. Also in part one of this message, the community was mentioned as far as the chimpanzee feeding the birds of prey in the tree. That was a community. okay, of stealing information and disseminating information. That's why the chimpanzee was feeding the birds of prey. So here's the word community. God is comparing these communities that I'm telling y'all about in the animal kingdom, which is a sharing community of the sloth and the chimpanzee. He's comparing it to the Illuminati. The Illuminati is a sharing community, and that fits into what God is exposing with this surveillance, with the spies and the people exposing. Okay, it all fits in. Now, tree in front of the house where the TV is. These are my notes. And the tree in the back of the house where the computer is. All right. Those trees, let me see if I can find them. Those trees represent the tree of technology. It represents the tree of technology. Part one, I was saying how my daughter said how the chimpanzee was up here, coming down, going over here, feeding all of the gray birds food, feeding them stolen information. Okay, so this represents, these two trees in these two separate dreams represent the tree of technology, which reminds me of the tree of knowledge of good and evil that the Bible speaks of, I think maybe in the book of Genesis. The tree of technology. Now, the tree of technology, that is Marcus Rogers and Klaus. Klaus the sloth. Marcus Rogers and Klaus are in the tree of technology. Okay? They're in that tree. They're in that tree spying on God's people. So are they government spy agents? So what my daughter said was in both dreams, especially with the sloth dream, she said, I was watching them watch me. Now, in a video, maybe about a year and a half ago, I mentioned that very phrase, something God had told me in a previous video I did. I don't know the name of it. And God said at that time, he said, he let me know we're being watched. Yes, I know that we are under surveillance. I've known that for a long time. But what's different now? What am I saying differently now? Warnings have went out for these false prophets to stop stealing messages and phrases from God's people. Warnings have went out to these people and they would not stop. They just became more and more bold. So what is happening with me now? What is God doing with me now? Now God is showing me how they're stealing our information, and he is now showing me the faces of the people behind the monitoring spirits. He is showing me the faces of the people who are behind your computer monitor. He's showing me the faces of the people who's looking at you through your TV and who's listening to us through our cell phones. He's exposing them. That's the difference. And these are people who are on social media platforms teaching the people of God Bible study, teaching them the Bible, and prophesying to them and making like they are the mouthpieces of the Lord. They're the ones that's preaching you and telling you their false dreams and visions, and they're telling you information that they stole from the true prophets. God is exposing how are they getting this information from his true prophets and trying to deceive the masses. Before the true servants can upload their message, they already stole your message and did a video before you could even get started. Or some of them are waiting. All of them are not looking through your computer monitor and your TV, but information is being disseminated to them. Some of them are just visiting your channel, and they are, as I say, pinching off and biting off your messages, and they're taking parts of your messages and they're making it their own, pretending the Lord gave it to them so that they can deceive the masses. And these are the people who are getting the most views on social media channels. These are the people who are being protected. Their videos are being circulated while our videos, the true service, the true messengers, our stuff is being suppressed. Okay? Now, God had told me a while ago, he said that I'm watching them watch you. I'm watching them watch you. They're watching you, God said, and I'm watching them watch you. And, you know, years ago, I don't know who them are. We just know that most people are under surveillance. There's cameras everywhere. But you don't expect to be under that same type of surveillance in your personal space, in your bedroom, in your living room, in your bathroom, in your home. Okay. So I can't tell everything. It's so much more to this. So let me try to get through this part. So when my daughter said, I was watching them watch me, she was referring to the sloth, the stool pigeon, the chimpanzee, and the birds of prey, the predator birds that were in her dreams. All right. The sloth, let me go back to the sloth. Okay, the sloth came in through a slot in the window. Through a slot in the window. In the dream, there was a tear between the window and the screen that formed a slot. How did the sloth come in through a slot? So when these are my notes now, because I'm trying to figure how is this possible. And I heard the Lord say portal and opening. Portal and opening. So immediately that took my mind to, hey, a computer. Computers have portals and openings. And the screen, the computer has a screen. Your TV is called the TV screen. Okay. So once the Lord began opening up the interpretation of the dream to me, I still didn't know who the sloth represented. Who was this person? So after a long day of the Lord dealing with me about this dream, I went and laid down that night. It was that night from exhaustion. And this would have been probably, I think it was Wednesday night, which would have been June 23rd. Okay. And once I laid down to relax, the Lord spoke a name to me. And this is the name he spoke to me. He said, Klaus. He said, Klaus to me. And at the same time, he flashed the face of one of Marcus Rogers' partners before me. He flashed the face of this guy before me. So God showed me that the spying sloth, whom I call Klaus, represents Marcus Rogers' partner, Klaus Chavis. Or Chavis, however he pronounces his name. Klaus Chavis. So I told about that experience in the video I did about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was when God was showing me all of this stuff, and I was like, I've seen that guy before, and his stuff never really pops up on my timeline. So I said, let me go see what this guy is up to, since the Lord spoke his name to me. And I told about this in about 2 or 3 weeks ago in the previous video. And that video was done, I think, in the month of June. I can't think of the name of it. Oh, it's called This Is War. I told this in the video called This Is War. And I really don't want to retell it right now, but when I ended up going to check out one of his channel and clicked on a video and clicked the, I think my finger touched the subscribe button by accident, and then I clicked the subscribe button again to make sure I was unsubscribed. Within minutes of me clicking off his page, This is 11:30 p.m. at night. Within minutes of me leaving his page, a dirty, nasty, filthy link was sent to my phone to a pornographic site. 11:30 at night. So, and when I told about this in the message, this is war. What I forgot to mention, the importance of that. Yes, we all get robocalls and inappropriate text messages, but I don't get them that much unless somebody is targeting me. So now what happened is God is showing me where God is showing me where this is coming from, in other words, because in previous months, the few times that those inappropriate pornographic links were sent to my phone through a text, it was always in the daytime. Never after 9 p.m. does any text from anybody come to my phone. In all the years that crazy people been sending texts and trying to get your attention, and companies, nothing comes to my phone after a certain time. Definitely never at 11:30 at night. So why is it that as soon as I left Marcus Rogers' partner's page, Klaus, I'm going to use the name Klaus and Klaus interchangeably. When you hear me say Klaus, I'm talking about Klaus. Why is it that within minutes of leaving his YouTube page, 11:30 at night, a link, an attack, an assault gets sent to my phone of a link to a pornographic site? Okay, moving on. So to some more interpretation and notes. So with the ecosystem concerning the sloth ecosystem. So the sloth feeds a community of small animals, bugs, and insects with the food or the algae that grows in its hair. So, okay, just like the chimpanzee is feeding the false prophets and the false teachers, the sloth has a community of people that it feeds. Now, the sloth or Klaus and chimpanzee and stool pigeon and Marcus Rogers, they're all in the same community. They work together. So we have their insects and their bugs and their roaches. These are the false prophets and the false teachers that our information, the information from the true service of God, is being disseminated to. Insects and roaches. That's what they are. Okay. Klaus shares information that airs. So they are sharing, the chimpanzee and Klaus the sloth, they are sharing information, food that they're feeding. The sloth is feeding, Klaus is feeding people, and so they're sharing information, stolen information, which airs. Where does it air at? By the false prophets on social media sites. They're airing your stolen messages and prophetic words from the Lord that they're stealing from you on YouTube. They're making videos. They're getting more views than you. They're airing it on Facebook, okay, and whatever other social media platforms that they are on. So Klaus also feeds the false prophets and other groups of interest, okay? Now, in other words, Klaus is a spy, just like Marcus Rogers is a spy. Now, this has to be a part of a money-making plot. Okay? Now, I don't have time to explain this, but all of what I'm telling y'all in these two messages ties back to a message God gave me either in 2018, I think, or 2019. And that message was called Turbulent Times in the Sky. I'm going to try to link that. God had me to mention itch agents. In that video, I was afraid to say the word itch agent. I told God I had never heard of that terminology, and I asked God, what in the world are itch agents? And the Lord said that itch agents are witches who specialize in information technology. So what is happening? What is happening? God is exposing the witches Okay. He's exposing the itch agents to me. He's showing me their faces, the ones who are spying on us through technology, through the things in your house and listening to your conversations. I talk a lot on the phone with with a few family members. I was always telling them the messages that God was giving me in my home. Lots of things I was sharing on the phone that I didn't even make videos about. I didn't even make messages about and upload them on my YouTube platform. And I'm on the phone discussing what the Lord is showing me and discussing dreams and visions. And 1 or 2 days after I run my mouth on the phone with family members, one of my family members who I talk to comes back and tells me, so and so is saying the same exact thing in a video that you just got through, or we just got through talking about on the phone. This has been going on for years. So we know that these people are false prophets, okay? And I've already mentioned 2 of them. The demonic pimp and the demonic preacher. I'm going to tell y'all about them. I have some information, some dreams and visions from the Lord to tell y'all about Henry and Monique, the demonic pimp and the demonic preacher. Okay. I can say certain things in my house, in front of my TV, in my around my computer, on the phone, and I will get a report back. And this has been going on, a pattern of this happening for years. They are false prophets. So how are you going to tell me God is telling you the same thing he's telling me when I already know, God already let me know that you're a false prophet? You're a lying, filthy dreamer. Okay? You're sharing and disseminating other people's messages and information that was given to you by the people in that community that you are a part of, in that organization. It's a scam. All right. And I got tired of hearing about how every time we have a conversation on the phone about spiritual things, 1 or 2 days later, Henry and Monique is speaking stuff that we were talking about on our telephone. So me and family members, we started saying, guess what? They're listening. We would hear the phone click. That when they would get ready to disconnect or get off the line, the phone call would be dropped. Or we would hear clicking in the phone. This is happening. I'm not making this up. God is my witness. And they know it. And they knew that I was coming after them. They knew I was going to expose them. They know from the posts that I've been recently posting. They know that I was going to expose them because they were listening into my telephone conversations. They're listening and watching into my house. I made a post recently. I said, Harry Potter watches your TV more than you do. Okay? So, the sloth came in through a slot in the window. That's what I've been talking about. Now, listen to the word slot. The word slot connects back to Vegas, Las Vegas, which connects back to slot machine and slot machine games and things of that nature. Okay. So I don't have a lot of time to explain this, but, these are games, casino games for Windows, for your Windows operating system, for your computer. And viruses can come through these things, okay, and infect your computer. This is another way that you're also spied on. Okay, the reason for being spied on and viruses taking over your computer and infecting your computer is so that they can steal and download your information. I don't have the time to really explain that in detail the way I want to, but that God connected that to what I'm discussing from this dream and vision right here. So Marcus Rogers and Klaus they also seem to frequent Las Vegas quite a bit. All right. If any of you have seen some of their previous videos, Las Vegas is shown in the intro of some of their past YouTube videos. The ones where Marcus Rogers was sitting down discussing spiritual, biblical things. in Las Vegas with his friend or his partner Klaus. Okay, they seem to frequent that area quite a bit. I've heard Marcus Rogers talking about speaking engagements there. Every time you turn around, it's something about Las Vegas. I can't keep count because I haven't seen all of his videos, but I've seen enough. I've seen quite a few videos where it was something about them frequenting Las Vegas area. This picture right here, I can't even get into what that picture right there tells me. Mandalay Bay. What happened at Mandalay Bay? I don't have time to get into that. Okay. This is what connects back to the sloth dream. I think I'm going to come back and talk about Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a hot spot for a terrorist attack. And when I say terrorist, I'm homegrown terrorists is inclusive in that. It's not any longer about terrorists from other countries, but there's a lot of activity going on among homegrown terrorists. And Las Vegas, God has shown this to me in the past. Las Vegas is a hot spot for something big that they are planning, okay, as far as an attack. And I've known this for years. If that was 2015 when that guy they arrested or he was killed or whatever in the shootout, I think at this hotel right here, and they tried to make like that guy pulled that off by himself. He did not pull that off by himself. All of those weapons and ammunition and guns that was in that hotel room, you mean to tell me that one man pulled that off by himself? I don't have time to get into details. He did not. That man's life was hijacked. I'm not saying he didn't have a role in it, but I'm saying his life was hijacked. And he did not pull that attack off by himself. Okay, so moving on. Now, once the sloth came in through a slot in the window, and this is my daughter's dream, I'm discussing the interpretation. So he came in through the slot in the window. He would not allow my daughter to pick him up and put him back out. And so here's what God connected that to when I went over that part of the dream. He wouldn't let her pick him up and put him back out. God said that's just like a computer virus. That's just like a computer virus. Once it gets in, it's hard to get out. Klaus, whatever his name is, he infects people's PCs with viruses so that he can download their information. Klaus the sloth, he infects your PCs with viruses so that he can download your information, okay? May come in through a slot in the window. That keeps being repeated. Okay, meaning Klaus and the virus. Okay, Klaus and the virus comes in through an opening or a portal in Windows. Okay, I know it seems like I'm all over the place, but I think y'all know where I'm going with this. Okay, the virus comes in through a Windows operating system. I'm just telling y'all things that I wrote as the Lord was bringing things to my mind and my spirit as I was working on the interpretation of the dream. These are things the Lord was showing me. The virus comes in through Windows operating system. So after that, I began hearing the Lord speak ground and air, ground and air. Marcus Rogers and Klaus secretly and covertly spread viruses and germs, ground and air. And I'm going to get into more about that in another video. I don't have time to cover that the way I want to, but remember, I told y'all that these people are in a covert operation of spreading viruses and germs, ground and air. There's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more to their partnership, that partnership between Marcus Rogers and Klaus, okay? Chimpanzees, okay, now I'm moving on to another part. Okay, so with what I just said about them spreading germs and viruses, ground and air, I'm going to take you back to the chimpanzee. Okay, I'm just clicking away. Y'all bear with me. Okay, chimpanzees throw poop. Did y'all know that? And that relates to the pigeon on a stool. See, that pigeon that was sitting on that stool in part one of this message, stool is also your poop. So chimpanzees throw poop. Now, if you're spreading germs, ground and air, well, that is connecting back to germs from poop. That's what the chimpanzee is also spreading. Whatever germs they're spreading, as part of their covert operation, as far as in the environment, it's a germ that is found in poop. Now, that's not, I'm not talking about the virus from the computer right now. That's a different kind of virus. Well, if there's germs that's being spread from poop, just like the chimpanzee likes to spread poop, that's also a virus. Okay, do y'all see where I'm going with that? Do y'all get the connection? When chimps are removed from the wild and kept in captivity, they experience stress and agitation, which can cause them to react in the same way by throwing things. Captive chimpanzees are deprived of the diverse objects they would find in nature, and so the most readily available projectile is feces. Intestines was mentioned in the first dream, connecting to the pigeon sitting on the stool. Remember, in the first dream, I told y'all to remember the word intestines, okay? Remember intestines. So that connects back to the pigeon sitting on the stool. This all connects back to the chimpanzee who throws feces, and the covert operation that is going on with these people who are spreading germs and viruses, ground and air. I know this sounds crazy. I can't slow down with this and really, okay, take my time to make sure y'all catching this. So, I just got to keep moving. Marcus Rogers, look, Marcus Rogers needs to really sit down somewhere. That's what he needs to do. Y'all picked the wrong person to play with. I know his assignment. I've known his assignment for a while. Okay? Please don't play with me. Because I know your assignment, and you know I know your assignment. That is why y'all listening in to my house. It's like y'all desperately want to know what is being discussed in my house. What am I? Am I a national threat? I don't understand. It's because y'all been listening in on my conversations and other people. I'm not the only servant of God who y'all been stealing information and messages from. I know that. But I'm one of y'all targets. I'm high on y'all list. And that's because y'all didn't listen into my house so much to the things I discuss in here and on my phone that y'all know that I know what I know. And the only way I know what I know is by the Spirit of the Lord. Yahweh is his name. That's why y'all so interested in me. Okay, so as I said in the previous video, when I upload a video, the first people to watch that video are the false prophets and the spies who are spying in this house and in the homes of the people of God. They're the first ones to run to my channel. They know when the video is being uploaded. If they're spying on you through technology and through your computer, they know when you're sitting recording the video. All right, so now I know Marcus Rogers' assignment. Okay, I can't even get to all of the stuff that I know about Marcus Rogers in 2 videos. And one of your assignments being germ warfare. Y'all hear what I say? Because I'm going to have to revisit that. One of Marcus Rogers' assignments is germ warfare. So get y'all eyeballs out of my house. Okay? So more notes on ecosystem. Get your eyeballs and your ears out of my house. Because Marcus Rogers' assignment, one of his assignments is germ warfare. I don't care if he tell y'all I'm crazy. God is my witness. God gave me this. God revealed this to me. God is exposing this. What God am I talking about? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh, the Most High God. More notes on ecosystem. In an ecosystem, everyone doesn't share, but everyone benefits until one is eaten by a predator. So remember in the part one of this, if you go watch that, there was a stuffed bird, and we're not sure if that stuffed bird that I was holding in my hand was real or not, but the pigeon ate that bird. Okay, and my daughter found that very bothersome. She felt like the pigeon was cannibalistic. So that's what I just read. It says in an ecosystem, everyone doesn't share, but everyone benefits until one is eaten by a predator. So that pigeon represented Marcus Rogers. So who is he trying to eat up? Who is Marcus Rogers trying to devour? Somebody from his community, probably so that he can get a promotion and take somebody else who's at the top, take their top spot. Marcus Rogers is trying to eat, he's trying to eat someone smaller or someone else in his community that may not be doing their job, or that person may be on their way down or out. And Marcus Rogers, they're putting him up like he's a rising star, like he's on his way up. Okay. Now, so I'm not going to read about comparing that to the ant colony. So it's like a network, okay? This community that these people operate in, and it's like a network of them. They are a community, and they are a sharing community. I don't have time to explain all of those pictures. So let me go back here. So in an ecosystem, everyone has a place within the food chain and or the web. Marcus and Klaus. So Marcus and Klaus are undercover agents of ground and air germ warfare. All right. Virus and germ warfare. I know your cover, and you watching me. I'm talking to Marcus Rogers. I know your cover. I know your assignment. And you watching me? Y'all watching me? Well, God is watching y'all watch me. And I'm watching y'all watch me. And God watches over me. All right? God is watching y'all watch his people. And I'm watching y'all devils monitoring God's people. I've been trying to tell y'all this stuff in some posts that I made. Okay, Dale C. Washington on the wall, watching the con play them all. I am watching y'all devils. I'm watching y'all monitor God's people. Okay, so let me see here. Conclude with summary and info. Okay, so let's see here. Now, so as I said before, these people I'm telling y'all and exposing, these spies, these Harry Potters and peeping wizards, they knew that I was onto them, because guess what? My TV is covered. My TV is covered. Let me see if I can pull up my thumbnail. It's a shame that now that God has shown me faces behind these monitoring spirits, my TV is covered when I'm not watching it. And I mostly keep my computer shut down now. Okay? But I don't think that they knew how much I knew until now. Until I'm sitting here recording these videos. Because I stopped talking a lot of stuff over the telephone. So I'm trying to keep them from knowing where my every move, what I'm getting ready to make a video about, what I'm getting ready to discuss next. Start shutting down on some conversations. So some more information and notes on, I'm going to do some closing remarks as quickly as possible. In my conclusion, Marcus Rogers is telling you all, he's telling y'all what he's doing in his videos. He's telling y'all the things he's making those videos about. In other words, he actually is the person doing those things that he's speaking against. The crimes that he's committing against the people of God is being incorporated into his messages that he's fake preaching to you all about. All right. He's laughing in y'all's faces. Marcus Rogers is mocking God. Marcus Rogers inappropriate thumbnails of lustful, perverted images. He has a lot of those. There are some things that our eyes are not supposed to look upon, but he has all of those lustful images as his video thumbnails. In the part 1 of this message, I told y'all about, he has lustful images of women, Cardi B, on his thumbnails for y'all, right in y'all face. He has, lustful, inappropriate, nasty pictures of Lil Nas in a sexual position with the devil. He has a picture of Lil Nas with breasts, and you can see the breasts in the picture. He's pretending that he's informing y'all. He's pretending that he's trying to warn and alert the people of God. By showing y'all these images, Marcus Rogers is advertising for Satan. Marcus is not warning and informing you about what the devil is doing. He's advertising for the devil. He's advertising for Satan's kingdom. Everything that he's pretending to warn people about, he believes in doing it. Everything he speaks against, everything he fake preaches against, Marcus Rogers believes in doing it and practicing it. Everything. Are y'all going to let Marcus Rogers steal this word and this warning from y'all that God sent? Are y'all going to let him steal this, what I'm telling y'all? Are y'all going to go and walk away after listening to this in disbelief? Are y'all going to let Marcus Rogers steal this warning message from y'all by allowing him to continue to lie to y'all about who he is? Are y'all going to continue listening to Marcus lie to y'all that he is an anointed man of God and he loves Jesus? Okay, you're going to continue to listen to that lie? Are y'all going to continue to fall for his every trick and deception? If Marcus Rogers ever told y'all that God showed him anything about y'all and it was true, he was looking through your TV to get that information. He saw it in your house. Okay? He was looking through your TV. Marcus Rogers said, God gives him a thumb up or a thumb down about people in the spirit. Marcus Rogers said that God shows him people in the spirit. He's looking through the spirit of technology. Okay? That's what he's looking through. That's where he's getting his information from. He's looking through the spirit of technology. Okay? I'm going to leave that there for a minute. He's looking, he's in the tree of technology. That's where he's at. I'm trying to find something else here. Marcus Rogers is in the tree of technology. Okay? That's where he's at, which includes magic and witchcraft. Looking through your windows. He's looking through your windows. What picture I want to go to? Looking through your windows. That's the windows on my computer. Looking through your windows, your TV screen and your computer screens, your cell phone screens. That's what he's doing. Him and the people that work with him in his community. Harry Potter and Klaus watching you in your house and trying to attack you with demonic spirits while you're sleeping. They're spying on and monitoring God's people and also trying to cast spells and send evil spirits into the atmosphere of your house. These devils even try to cast spells on the people of God while you're watching their videos. Okay? Things are being transferred to y'all. Demonic spirits from them and from their surroundings and the things that they do, those things are being transferred to their viewers. Okay? Are y'all going to continue to listen to the other false prophets and false teachers and false dreamers that Marcus Rogers and Klaus are feeding stolen information and messages to? Are y'all going to continue to follow false prophets and liars and thieves and robbers? Are y'all going to continue to disobey God Almighty when he told you and he warned y'all to beware of false prophets? Are y'all going to continue to listen to Henry and Monique, the demonic pimp and the demonic preacher, lie day after day after day after day? They're getting their information, their stolen information and messages from Marcus Rogers as well. Some of our stuff is being disseminated to them from the people who are spying through the monitors and the computers and listening to your conversations on the phone and zooming in on what you're taking notes on in your living room and when you're sitting in front of the TV, zooming in on what scriptures you're reading in the Bible, and they're taking it and running and making a video with what God is showing you to make themselves look like true prophets and true messengers. Even when you sit down in front of your computer monitor and you write out your messages or typing your messages, if they're spying on you through Windows, they're able to see what you're doing. And maybe this is all to a certain extent. I don't know the ins and outs of how it operates, but I do know generally this is what God told me, that they have this technology in place to be able to do this. I'm not talking about, as I said in part one of this message, I'm not just talking about spying on you through the camera eye of a phone or the camera eye of the computer. I'm talking about the actual computer screen, the actual monitor, the actual TV screen. There's technology in place that spies can look through that. And some of the spies are people who are preaching and prophesying to you on social media platforms. All right. They are all a part of this. They are all in this together. And I'm not able to, I'm not able to get to the other dreams right now that I have that shows how they are a part of all of this deception. But I think I'm showing quite a bit in this part one and part two of monitoring spirits. Are y'all going to try to dismiss and dispute this evidence that God used me to bring forth? Woe unto you if you do. Woe unto all those who reject God's truth and continue in the paths of fools. All right. I want Marcus Rogers. I want Klaus the Sloth, Henry and Monique, and any other ones. And also, there's another person who I don't have time to get to that I told y'all about in a post. I want Butch Sheets. She spies on people in people's homes. I want y'all to get the hello out of my house. All right. There is so much more to this. So much more. Henry and Monique, please don't bother me, because I'm not even done exposing. Do not bother me. I don't want y'all calling my name. Y'all knew this was coming. I told y'all to leave me alone. All right. All of y'all monitoring spirits, y'all got to go. Y'all got to go. I came to shut y'all down in the name of Yahweh, in the name of Yeshua. Okay. Shut up and get your surveillance out of my house. What are y'all seeing in my house? What did y'all come to see? Huh? What did y'all see, and what y'all listening at? What y'all looking for up in my house? Looking through my computer, looking through my phone and my TV. Y'all lying, sick bunch of witches. That's what y'all are. Y'all ain't got nothing on me. And since y'all are so heavily spying on God's people, are y'all looking for something to blackmail people with? Is that part of y'all plot? Is that part of y'all game? Is that part of y'all scam? Are y'all looking for stuff with some of these preachers who creeping around committing adultery? Some of these people who pretending to be something that they're not on a platform, and behind closed doors they're the opposite. Are y'all looking for stuff on them to try to blackmail them? Are y'all trying to catch preachers in sinful acts of perversion so that y'all can extort money from them? Is that part of y'all scam? Now, so I don't know if y'all know it yet or not, and I don't care. But y'all are in a hell of a lot of trouble. And the satanic cult that y'all joined up with won't be able to save y'all. Again, God showed me Marcus Rogers, aka Harry Potter, Peeping Wizard, and Klaus, Klaus, the sloth, at the controls. Those are the main two people God showed me at the controls. The other false prophets that are a part of their community are benefiting from the stolen information and messages. Now, let me make a side note here. The one that I call Butch Sheets, I don't know if she's a part of the same community with these guys, because I've seen Henry and Monique make videos, call themselves exposing Juanita Bynum. So they must not be in the same demonic satanic community. Okay. But Henry and Monique are a part of the same scam, plot, and community as Marcus Rogers. They are feeding Marcus Rogers and Klaus are feeding the birds of prey and the birds of the air stolen messages and information about the people of God. They are feeding the gray birds and the gay birds. Some of them might be gay birds, okay? They're feeding the roaches, the insects, the predators, and the false prophets. And they are feeding and working with Henry and Monique. They're feeding them, okay, your information. That's why y'all hear them. And when y'all hear them, when the true servants and messengers of God hear them speaking what God gave y'all, y'all already know. God already put an alarm in your spirit that they somehow are copying and got a hold of your message that God spoke to you. All right. These demonic monitoring spirits are exposed and they got to go. All right. Come out from among these witches and wizards. Stay away from Henry and Monique. They are demonic entry. I'm giving y'all a warning. They are demonic entry. Henry and Monique are demonic entry. They are a part of the satanic community of monitoring spirits. Shut them down. They are lying to you. Witches and wizards are preaching to you. They are sharing their filthy dreams with you. They are monitoring spirits. Shut them down. Shut them down, says the Lord. Yahweh is his name.